Okay, I'm live. I'm live now. Can I see me over here? No.
Yeah.
Okay. Hold on, you guys. I'm sorry. We're having some technical difficulties. I was going to try to go on at 6:30. We were running late, and I hate coming on at this time because I know Chad's on, but I had no other choice. Okay, wait. Okay, because I know Chad's on. Here we go. Make sure this is off. All right. My guest tonight is Kevin. Kevin, what do you usually go by? Exactly.
Thin Gray Line was another name that I used to go by.
Okay, or Thin Gray Line.
Obviously, in homage to correctional officers.
Okay, all right. So look, some of you guys may know him, some of you guys may not, but let me give you the whole backstory here. A few weeks ago, a guy by the name of Code of the Street came to my attention when he was on Johnny Mac's show, and he was being kind of critical of me. At no time did I ever have an issue with Code of the Street, even when he was being critical of me. In other words, I always told Johnny Mac and even said to like him in some comments that I like had a good vibe about the guy. Okay. Now, not long ago, Code had like a panel on that was just ripping me apart. And let me say this, I'm now a public figure. I take off after Calandra or other people, so I'm fair game. That's not the issue whatsoever. Okay, so I did a response video called Big Daddy's Schools Codes Panel. Kevin was one of the guys on the panel, right, Kevin? Is that fair?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Kevin was one of the guys on the panel. I said what I had to say, and the following day, Code put a video out basically saying that the title that I used, Big Daddy's Schools Codes Panel, was totally inappropriate because he has a platform which has sexual abuse victims on. I think that's accurate. Okay.
Yes.
So when I saw that, first of all, I hesitated, and I was trying to see if Code was sincere, but it didn't really matter because even if I offended one person by that title on that show or any other, I thought, oh my God, I got to go apologize. And I did. I was sincere. My wife was the one that said, get in there and make a video at 10 o'clock at night. And let me tell you, she's totally against that. So she said, get in there and do it. I did the apology video. I have no qualms about the apology video I did. And to this day, if it offended one person, I'm sorry. Now, after that, I'm not sure if it was you, Kevin, or Code reached out to me first via Johnny Mac. We began talking. Let me leave you aside for a second. When I talked to Code, he thought that was pretty big of me to make the apology. He appreciated it. And we began a conversation from there. Now, I know a lot of guys that follow me don't like Code, and I don't care. I don't care if people criticize me. I honestly don't care. I don't care if people just try to take my jugular vein out. I don't care. You'll see me. I'll respond. Sometimes my responds are yes, it could be fun responding that way. Sometimes it could be childish, but nevertheless, I respond how I respond. I started developing a relationship, I felt, with Code and Kevin over a few phone calls. So it wasn't like that long, okay? But I saw a bigger picture with both of these guys. Kevin is a former correction officer for 15 years. Yes, he made some comments about me in a video with Code. And you know what? I really don't care. I didn't care. We got past all that. We talked. What I saw with Kevin is somebody that on the bigger agenda platform, and that is criminal justice reform, whether it be on this channel, a different channel, or whatever, that's like the person I want. I want side by side with me. Why? Mm-hmm. He was a CO. I was in prison. I was a prisoner. So when you're trying to go after criminal justice reform, which is huge, by the way, and overwhelming, you need people that all work together.
Right. Now,
I am part of a nonprofit that brings awareness to sexually exploited children, kids that have been abused, etc. That was my first job when I got out of prison for 6 months. I am still a part of that organization, although my boss, that organization, which has its nonprofit status, federal nonprofit status, is stagnant. It's stagnant because he's bogged down in legal litigation in Texas over big government contracts. However, it's not like I haven't been thinking about it and trying to push that agenda forward. When I heard Code's story, and Code would not, even after today's video, would not be, I don't think he'd be pissed if I said Code had an unfortunate childhood story, okay?
Right.
Abused as a child. Now, we talked about it, and a light in my head went on. My friend, who was my cellie, by the way, when I got life and turned his life around, who's my boss on this nonprofit, he wanted me to try to figure out how to merge criminal justice reform with the nonprofit. I couldn't see it. I was having a problem with it. After I met Code and Kevin, a light went on. So much so that I called them and said, we need an emergency meeting. I had big plans. I mean, honest to God. So next weekend, I had planned to go talk to my friend and people who back this nonprofit, whom I have a non-disclosure agreement with, by the way, because of who they are.
Right.
I was going to spend the weekend and really talk about that and make Code of the Street instrumental in this nonprofit. I don't care if you guys hate him, love him, whatever. It doesn't matter, because I saw something different. Okay, if people are critical of me or on the so-called this side or that side, it doesn't matter to me. SoFlo show, for example, I was on Johnny Mac's show. SoFlo called me a bitch, everything else. When I went and watched this guy's show, he said some things that I respected. I reached out to him via Johnny Mac and on his chat and said, bro, big respect for you telling your subs not to go after people's family members. And I meant it. I also realized that he was Cuban. I've been around a lot of Cubans. They're comical. They're funny people. They call each other bitch a lot. So I started getting him. Even if he was talking shit about me, I didn't care. I subscribed to his show and I watch it, okay? Now, today, I saw that he was coming after me and said he was coming to start exposing Convict Inc. day by day. Fair game. I'm fair game. I talk crap, cash shit about people. I headhunted Calandra, and I'm not even close to done. So I'm fair game. That's not the problem. He started the show off today by bringing up a video that I put out that's on my channel, in which, this is horrible now, in which I said I kept point why a guy got raped. It's absolutely true. Let me real quick go there. When I went to Leavenworth, back in those days in 1998, if you were white and you went into the black TV room, and you're not by the way, you're not part of a gang like the GDs or the Vice Lords. I knew two white guys that ran with black guys. That was what they did. They got away with that. Back then, you could not associate with blacks like that. Blacks didn't want you in the TV room, their TV room. The whites didn't want you to go in there. And if you've been warned time and time again, you were fair game. Sad, but true. Mm-hmm. There was a guy named, I'm going to call Brain Drain. He was slow. He actually had head surgery. And he was one of these guys white guys that identified with blacks. At the time, nobody knew he had a black wife and kids because he couldn't even say that in prison. And there was a day, there was a guy named Will who was standing out in front of this black guy's cell. And in that cell, they had brought Brain Drain, and they were sexually assaulting him, okay? Will stopped me, gave me a pint, some moonshine, didn't tell me right away. You can go watch my video. However, I did know as I stood there at some point what was going on in that cell. And let me tell you, after it was over with, the white guys who found out about it had no problem with it. They're like, yeah, that dude got what he deserved. And that's terrible. That's terrible shit that happened. That was the culture of prison at that time. I am never going to back up from what I say, a story in my life, good or bad. I put stories out that most people wouldn't about themselves. A guy called me a bitch. A guy punked me out. I'm going to come and tell you everything that happened. I'm not trying to act like I was a tough guy or whatever. Now, let me get back to today. So SoFlo came out with that story, and honest to God, I was like, well, there's some valid criticism of me. There you go. That's one. If I was them, that's what I would be coming after me with.
Right.
Also, what they came after me for is, and this keeps going on, is a lot of people know that when I was at Butner 2, which is an administrative yard, administrative means sexual, child molesters could be there, people with sex crimes could be there, guys that are sick, gang dropouts, and even good guys. That's the whole Butner complex, okay? I have said time and time again, double, triple, quadruple down, that to piss off Joey Testa, who was a big mob guy, I got in a fight with Joey, and I went and walked over to the weirdo table, which had people that had child molestation cases, and sat with them rather than sitting with Joey Testa. I did it as a direct FU to Joey Testa, okay? Now, I will never back down from that. The problem has become that the critics, and you know what, rightly so, because they take something, and I do the same stuff. So they take and they're going to run with it and beat it to make me look like I'm like this child molester sympathizer. Now, Code has talked to me about this. The video I put out today was accurate, except like he wasn't saying, "Oh, it's okay," and I totally understand what you did. He was still saying there was people on his side of the fence and that did state prison time that would not understand what I was trying to say, what I done, and they would never understand it. Okay. Now, we got past that, I felt. If I say something that offends somebody on this channel and we have each other's telephone number, I've got guys that criticize me right now that have my telephone number. Home phone, not my business phone. I would expect you, if I said something, to come and tell me first. But right. I didn't learn about this until he went on SoFlo's show and just started taking me out. I was so hurt, then angry. And the reason is because I put a lot of time and investment into talking about Code of the Street. And it just crushed me to see him on that channel, like hitting me for that same thing, that same about sitting at the sex offender table when we've talked about this at length. That's where all the outrage, I did a live over it. I did videos over it. Now, in the video, I started it on Kevin. And let me be honest about something. I said F you to both Kevin and him under no terms, screw you guys, this and that. Kevin reached out to me. He's like, we need to talk about this. I was on my way home from my doctor's appointment, probation, doctor's court. And Kevin reached out. He's like, well, let's just talk about it live. Bring me on live, like no preconditions. And then he's like, then he said a few things. And I realized I never even heard what Kevin said when he won. Code had a show after he left SoFlo. Kevin was on there. I saw Kevin's face, but I never heard what Kevin said about me, good or bad. I did hear something about maybe I doubled down. I don't even recall a word he said about me. But yet, because I saw him with Code and because I equate these two together, I took completely off on him like I took off on Code. Okay, so that's where we are right now. Kevin, I'm going to let you go ahead. And bro, we got no preconditions. We've never talked about what we were going to say. You can say whatever you want. Go ahead.
Well, I'm going to stick to what I've always said, including what I said on Code's show. And that is when it came to prison topics, whether it be administrative, whether it be atmospheric, whether it be, decorum, whatever the topic was, I was only there to try to help Code or anyone else for that matter with etiquette, the way things were in there from a state perspective. I stated several times that there is definitely differences between federal and state. Administratively, for the most part, now, as there be obviously sentencing differences, violation differences, just what law you basically broke or whatever you committed is obviously going to be different, right?
Yes.
However, the classification part of it is pretty much uniform, whether it be state or federal,
Sure.
pretty much the same. So when it came time to get into topics like, well, aren't these guys all under PC? So many people in the general public are under the impression that child molesters of any kind or any level are in protective custody. Complete fallacy. Doesn't occur.
Is that true in state? Is that true in the state you're at?
Yeah.
Too?
Yeah. You are more likely to rub elbows with a person who has a sex offender offense than anything else, just as like you are as rubbing elbows with a drug dealer or a DUI guy, whatever. They're there with you. They're among you. How they make that happen and how it's successful to a point where you're not having guys constantly get their skulls bashed in, and Rob, you can attest to this, is incentives. The state or feds will give, let's put Robert in there, Robert incentives. Hey, Rob, if you behave, we're going to tack on what's called good time. Each month that you go by without an incident, you get time knocked off your sentence. On top of that, you get to go to programs. You get to go to church, whatever religion you want to. You might have outside details that you'll have as a special privilege. You might be going to college outside of the walls. You might be picking up trash on the highway. You might have extra phone time. You might have extra rec time. Whatever the case may be, the state or federal system will tack on incentives. If you're a good boy, they let you get away with certain things or give you more, incentives. You get more leisure type things. They even have softball teams that will go and play guys on in the outside. I mean, these are real things. So they incentivize the inmates with good time and good behavior to get out sooner and have an easier, more enjoyable time as you do your time. That is how it is peaceful inside the prison while you're still rubbing elbows with guys who a lot of people think are the scum of the earth.
Yeah.
And I'm one of them. I am. But this is how it is on the inside. It is not what most people think. They are not getting their ass beat every single day. You're not having guys just completely disassociate themselves and nobody talks to them and they just don't exist. That doesn't happen. That is not how it works. So, and you got to look at from a administrative point of view. I, as a correctional officer, still have to give him everything he's entitled to. Everything. Or I'm fucked. They're going to kick me out and get rid of my pension if I don't treat him the same way I would treat Rob. And that's just the way it goes. So that was like the basis of things that I came in for, to clear up for a lot of people, to make people realize that this notion of child molesters, aka chomos, whatever he likes to call them, they're among you. They are going to be among you. And it's in your best interest to behave so you can get the hell out of there and see your loved ones.
That's like the best explanation I've ever heard of the whole thing, Kevin. No bullshit. Let me add this. So in the federal system, so I had life without parole. So what they said when I went into the Butner complex, Butner 1, during orientation, is they showed us the new laws in which if you touch a sex offender, you get like 5-year mandatory minimum. Okay.
Yes.
Also, the Butner complex is an administrative yard with medical facilities. That means if you're sick, that's why. So they started putting sex offenders on what's called administrative yards. You can have any custody level except for camp, of course. So any like low to high, you can be USP status and you can still be in one of these administrative yards. Okay. So they put us all together, sick guys. They're handful, 20 guys that had no issues whatsoever, probably.
Right.
And then a lot of guys that were gang dropouts, protective cuss, high profile, such as Bernie Madoff, all in the same complex together.
Right.
Now, where everybody's got me and is rolling with it is this. Butner 1 had like probably, I'd say 40% of that yard, 30, 40 was all sex offenders. Butner 2 was not. That is a higher level institution. They're there, and everybody knows that the first 2 tables they call the weirdo tables. They don't even call them the sex offender tables. I got into it, I said over and over again, with Joey Testa, who was a well-liked mob figure. Very personal issues. As a blow to Joey, which I've repeated this a million times, Joey got in a fight and basically said, if you're not going to stop doing, so staff told him to tell me to do something. If you're not going to listen to me, you can't sit at the Italian table no more. And I was like, and I went not to the white table where the good white guy sat, but I went all the way to the front to prove a point. And I just like sometimes when I'm on here and I stick it to people and I mean, I won't stop. Like when I just got them down, it was the same thing. So I get that the general public would think just by my actions and just by me doubling, tripling, that I was some kind of child molester promoter. But if they didn't go listen to my videos that I talked about that, in which I talked explicitly or specifically about the things I did to sex offenders in the past and how I got to be where I was, how my mind frame went from the convict mentality, all sex offender needed to be just blah, 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 to, okay, I'm living among them in their place. It took training. Joey Testa actually trained me. And you know what? I'm glad for it. I'm glad I was able to be on that yard, get medical help, and not touch them, because I wouldn't be home today. If I would have assaulted them, I would. That doesn't mean I wasn't mean to them. That doesn't mean I didn't talk to some of them. Hell, I helped one of them get a job in the law library. Marcus Hahn, that's true. I'm not going to ever back down from the truth. The thing about me, abusing me, but I do get it. I get why channels do it, because it's something that you can get me on. The general public and people in general just like hate sex offenders. Like, this guy laughs about sitting with chomos. He needs to be, he's a chomo. You know, I get that. What I didn't get was that Code, after we had a talk, even with this background, I came back after Slow Flow was talking about me sitting there. I responded. I tripled down, and I had no idea that Code was going to come like blindsiding like that. That's where my whole day to day came from. That's the honest fact.
So, and again, this is my opinion. I'm a nobody, so, you know, people can take it for what it is. I think, for your benefit, I think if you would have started in the very beginning, the first time you explained that situation, the Joey Testa thing, I think if you preluded with that whole, what you just told me about, you know, allegedly burning one of those guys, on fire. He got really hot one day. If you would have told that story and the whole thing that you're working on the side that we were talking about, that, you know, if you would have alluded to those types of things and then led into that story with Joey Testa, I think the whole thing would have been avoided. I really do. I think this whole situation we're dealing with right now would have been completely different for you, because you would have laid down the blueprint for how you feel about those guys and those individuals, regardless of you and I both knowing, and I know SoFlo knows this, that regardless of how we feel about those guys, they're in there, and you're gonna have to eventually get along with them on some level so you can get the frig out of there and get home to your loved ones. That's the reality. Nobody likes it. I didn't like giving them what they were entitled to. Trust me. Let's put it this way. I bent every rule I could and got to the point where they were basically going to write me up if I didn't give them, you know, an extra sheet or whatever the fuck it was they were trying to get out of me. I held off as long as I could, but you can only do so much before you're gonna get reprimanded for it, right? So I think for your sake and your benefit, if that's what you would have explained at first, you would have had a completely different experience with this whole issue and topic. That's just my opinion.
No, you know? and that's totally fair. And
let me just touch on one other thing.
Sure.
What I think a lot of content creators are going through right now, a lot of you, and it has to do with a lot of you guys in the chat right now. If you as a content creator are going into this thinking that you're going to please every single person's opinion, you are going to drive yourself nuts. You just are. I mean, everybody can be a Monday morning quarterback and say, shit, this guy was wide open in the end zone. Why didn't I throw it to him? It's easy to look at it afterwards, the next day after the game, right? It's always easy.
Yeah, sure.
But in real time, in the midst of the game, while everything's going 1,000 miles an hour, you don't see everything for what it is. So we're all human. We all make mistakes. Like I said, my opinion that I just gave you about how this would have been a lot easier, easy for me to say now. I wasn't in your shoes. I don't know if I could have done it any better. And I'm not going to try to make it out seem like I would. Again, I'm giving that opinion after the fact. So take it for what it is. It's afterwards. And I'm not trying to act like I would have done it any better, said it any better, or set it up any better. But that was just my opinion on the matter. But again, getting back to pleasing everybody, we're not. Nobody is. You can't. There's going to be somebody that you're going to rub the wrong way. I know there's people right now in this chat that think I start a lot of trouble between content creators.
I haven't read it yet.
Little do they know that some of those content creators put me in that position in the first place because I happened to be friendly with both of them. One of them wanted me to look out for him. So as I'm relaying messages between the two of them, one of them's, well, you just keep running back and telling him so and so. You fucking told me to. What do you want me to do? And I've learned my lesson. Monday morning quarterback. I ain't getting involved in between nobody's shit anymore. And here I am helping Code out. You know what I mean? But that's my brother. And, if somebody attacks him, they attack me. And, he's passionate about that issue. He's passionate about those types of issues because of what he dealt with on a personal level. But that goes back to my original argument. You can't please every single person. You're gonna rub somebody the wrong way. It's just human nature. Somebody might not like this fucking hat that I'm wearing and say, fuck this guy, he's a jerk off. It's reality. You and I have heard everything there is to hear on Said the Prison.
Yeah.
Cursing is like another language in there. You hear every word and you hear it used in every way physically possible. Am I right?
Yeah.
So trust me, guys, it getting up here and doing it. And a lot of these content creators challenge you guys to do this. Do your own show and see if you don't get critiqued by your chat or by your fans. It's not easy. So I'm not asking anybody to forgive anyone. I'm not asking anybody to give leniency towards anyone. All I'm saying is put yourself in other people's shoes sometimes. Everybody's entitled to their opinion. But if you think you're going to please everybody, you're going to have a really rough time.
So I've had some really good subs. I've lost probably like 30 really, really good ones over the last week over my nonstop mob tube, so to speak, stuff, right? I haven't done a whole bunch of prison-based stories because I've been stuck on the Calandra thing. I keep getting phone calls from prison, but I do get a lot of guys that have been around a while and they private message me and they'll tell me exactly how they feel. And I will listen, but I'm going to do my show how I'm going to do my show, right? What you said about how I should have went into that, you're right. When I went into that whole thing and said that, it was spiting Joey Testa. So when I said it originally, I was saying it like, you know what I even did to Joey Testa? I did this, spike, spike, spike. And to this day, like you can see my demeanor, my attitude. So Joey Testa, like just like Code was personal to me today, Joey Testa, there's a big, long personal thing that happened there that like I felt super betrayed, right? Getting to Code today, the thing that first stuck out to me, what he said was that he told me to stop talking about the issue. He never did, Kevin. He never said that. However, it's not like, and I didn't make it, I listened to my video and I don't want to make it sound like he just said, oh, it wasn't a big deal. That's not true. It was a big deal to him, but he said at a point, and I could be paraphrasing, that he understood my point of view, but people on his show did not. And I was going to go on that show at some point. I was going to have both you guys on first. I was going to go on his show, and I wanted to use his show to talk about those issues and sex offender laws and blah, blah, blah. That's what my head was planning, right? But this week I got so bogged down over the Calandra stuff and all that. So I never reached back out to him. I've had conversations 3 different times this week about him with other people, long ones. And then I saw that and I'm just like, oh my God, what this dude just did to me personally, because I had my dude say, don't trust none of these dudes. And I'm like, no, this guy's different. Blah, blah. And it was like, that's what happened. That's what happened, And that's what happened, straight up. I'm just being totally honest.
And again, what I spoke with that issue with the Joey Testa thing is I just said, I don't care how pissed off I would be at Joey Testa, me personally. And again, this is my opinion, so take it for what it is. I definitely would have come up with a different plan or a different tactic to get at Joey Testa rather than sitting at a table full of those guys. Again, that's just my opinion.
No, fair enough. That's totally fair. I just I got to reiterate, I got to keep on saying that it worked so well for me what I did. That's the reason I stuck to it for 2 weeks, is because of like the blow it was causing. I'm telling you, it was like, I mean, like Benny Giarratano will come on. There's people that know. And one of the things was like, I lived in the same block with them, right? And Joey's not a punk. Joey worked out every day and probably could beat my ass. But it was just, I was so upset how he turned on me, as upset as I was today. Because he was, yeah, go ahead.
So I don't want to cut you off.
No, go ahead.
Before I lose this thought, I want to say it.
Yeah.
So by even that little bit of a smirk that you give when you say that, because I could see it, that you were happy that you got to him, right?
Yeah, so much so, yes.
But that pleasure you have of knowing that you won in that moment, but by sitting with those, is what crushed and still does crush Code and his guest Dana Smith. It was the fact that you were so focused and laser focused on getting Joey Testa that you took away the meaning to them and how it basically belittles their feelings towards those individuals. That's how they see it. They basically feel like your pleasure was their worst displeasure, if that makes sense.
Wow, that totally does make sense.
That's where Code's coming from with all of this. That your choice, your idea to get back at this guy, whatever your anger or animosity was towards him, was the worst possible choice based upon their personal experiences. And that's what it basically fucking boils down to in a nutshell.
That was like super well said. I mean, really, I mean, I don't even have much of a comeback on that specifically. It's not like I made it sound like when I said I was played Dungeons and Dragons with them. That was like even worse, you know?
Right. Again, probably, yeah, that was another thing. They were like, just like you did. That to them was the same thing.
Probably in the unit, because I've never played D&D in my life, right? If they were in the unit, like out in front of Joey's cell, like playing, I like would have done some dumb shit like that. That's how like upset and like I just don't like I don't stop sometimes. You know what I mean?
Right.
Now, but I do think that a lot of people are just using this just to stay on and like just to ride it because they're either Calandra supporters or they just want to use it to like keep me going. You know what I mean? Because it's not like in anybody. So that's why I've been saying this, even and I say it with my smirk that pisses people off or my condescending attitude.
Right.
Yes. And I say like, guess what? Like, even after I did that, like all those mafia guys respected me still. They still had me around. And they did. My point, maybe I can put it in a different tone, right?
Right.
But my point is like, it wasn't a big deal to any of those guys.
Because we know on the inside that it's not that big of a deal because they're there. You're going to rub elbows with them, right?
Yeah, yeah.
But to the general public, they're not going to understand that. They're not. And just like I said, some people might fucking hate this hat and hate me for it. Somebody seeing that smirk that you had when you told that story, that could have been it for them. They were like, oh, nope, this guy, you know what? No good. Yeah. That's the reality of it.
Yeah.
You know, and there's just these things that people in the general public will never understand or fully understand, that things aren't as serious inside as they are out here.
Okay. So there are, so in the feds, they will take a guy that like doesn't tell the staff they're afraid at a USP that's rocking. Let's take Big Sandy or USP Beaumont, right? Those guys, a lot of them should not be in those yards because on those yards, you got a lot of people a lot of gangs, a lot of people that have drug debts, and they'll pick the easiest mark to take off on to get off the yard or to like go to the hole and get out of their debts or whatever. So if there's sex offenders that will say like I'm fine, I'll walk this yard. Majority of them do at some point go to what is the administrative yards. Okay. So in the feds, there's not really a PC, but you can consider some of the administrative yards PC. However, there's so many of these sex offenders coming in now due to downloading images of child porn. The sex offenders in the feds, because that's federal stuff, are becoming the new crack offenders. You know, the crack offenders, they had the drug laws, which were harsh. And they were supposed to, like, take out kingpins, but really all they did was take out low-level drug offenders that were poor. Right. So now they're going after these guys. That's actually the conversation I wanted to have on Code's channel. And that would, my views would probably make few people mad, but I would be able to explain it and say, you know, what I hope people go after and what I hope from all that, and bring statistics into it and all that. Like, I really wanted to get into that platform on Code's channel. You know, that's where, like, today it's still, and even after this conversation, even after what you just said, it still just fucks me up. It still fucks me up for real, you know? And again, SoFlo, I called him a sex offender yesterday because I saw some charges and stuff. He never got charged with those charges, okay? He got, that I know of. I saw that he got originally charged with some things that had to do with sex, but he never got charged with them. He has said that he said that he beat up a girl, Bob, and would do it again, Bob. You know, he's like not backed away from that. Like, I haven't backed away from the sitting at the child molester table. But I did apologize to him and say, hey, calling you a sex offender when you have not been charged, you know, that's wrong.
Right, I agree.
And he does, like, he reads my comments, and if he's like, he like sees that I'm like not as bad, but then his people that are with him will start in, and then like he deletes me where I can't make any more comments, because I wasn't making like shitty comments at him. If anything, I was like, dude, I respect your channel, and I was like trying, okay, this is my position, but his people didn't want to hear that, you know, and that's what, like, you know. Anyway, that's what it's SoFlo show. He's entertainment to me. I know people on this platform would absolutely can't stand him, maybe not stand you or Code, but I don't judge.
Can't please everybody.
I don't judge what I'm going to do based off that. You know what I'm saying? So anyway, I had you on here because honestly, when you told me that you really didn't even say nothing, and I've thought about it, I just put you and Code together, like, automatically. Okay, that's just because you know, Code's your bro. You know, you stick. Okay, so automatically it's just like one betrayed me, the other betrayed me. To right now, I have not gone back and listened to what you said earlier. You know, but you reached out to me. You said, "Hey, let's not even talk about it here. Put me on. We'll just deal with it there." You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, and there's one more thing I want to address. Okay, and that's the short or comment I made later. Okay, and that is about MRE. Let me say this before you do. I have never talked to MRE prior to a few days ago, right? So I have made joke after joke about him being comrade because I know it gets under people's skin. I never cared, and to this day do not care if MRE's a racist, if that's his views, not if he's trying to start a white separatist movement or in a militia that is trying to hurt people. There's a big difference. I have been friends with black racists, white racists in prison, and to me, that they're just people, just like Mob, they're just people. Now, again, when I talked to the dude, I did say, hey man, just tell me, because I just, like, you know, I don't even think I said, are you in some kind of crazy militia? But I got like his view of the whole thing, right? And I want to say this, as far as is FBS doing reporting on him in his case, I have given FBS credit for it. He did screw up on the manila envelope thing. And I talked to MRE about that. And you know what? That's his business. He gives a credible thing, but that's his business. He runs a platform, Mob Rats Exposed. If he put himself out there like that and people can one day come up and say that this guy's right, that he did that. I don't judge people off that. I can talk to people no matter what their views are, or even if they dislike me. Even SoFlo said, I think racists I would defend racist viewpoint. Like, he even said on his show, like, yeah, I would defend a racist right to speak freely. You know what I'm saying? And then they paint me as like, oh, you're a racist with MRE, blah, blah, blah. What is your view on that? What is your view? Because MRE, the whole thing, and I'm not trying to just totally box you in, bro. I'm not.
No. And my basic principle on all of this, especially when it involves someone else, if that someone else isn't here with us right now, I don't even like talking about it. I really don't.
Okay.
And I'll be honest with you, and there's several people in this chat right now that can back me up and attest to this. I am like the king of three-way phone calls. You know why? Because when somebody else wants to bring somebody else up, and I say, put the brakes on, dude. If you want to talk about this guy, I'll use you, Rob. You want to talk about Rob? Fuck that. I'm bringing him on the phone if that's what you want to do. And all my boys, you want to talk about code of the streets? Nope. Put them on the phone. Then you continue what you want to say about them. Because I don't do that talk behind people's back shit. I'm not into that. That's not my thing. Because all that occurs in this genre is he said, she said drama. It makes your fucking head spin. So for the last 4 to 6 months, I have made it my number one priority that if somebody wants to talk about something or someone else and they're not present on that phone call, don't bring it up or get them on the fucking line. That's it. So out of respect for him and his situation, I don't know him. I don't talk to him. I don't know a fucking thing about him other than what has been said on here. And I haven't verified anything. I haven't looked into anything. So I am not the person to just even give my opinion one way or another. But what I have said, based upon what I have seen and what I know as a criminal justice major with my degree and my experience, that based upon the evidence that was presented to me on one side, again, that's one side. I haven't seen the other side because they're not trying to defend it or talk about it one way or another. But if he already had a record, okay, if he already had a felony on his record, you can exclude AR probation, which is accelerated rehabilitation, which gives you another chance at a clean slate. If you're clean for 2 years, don't get in trouble. We can wipe that felony off your record. And you're starting with a clear slate. That would create a manila envelope, a sealed case. Your record is now sealed because you just went through AR probation. You didn't get in trouble. You get a second chance at a clean slate. That's sealed and that's put away. However, what I was told and what's been told to me is that he already had a felony on his record. So that would exclude his second chance, right? So one is to think that sealed envelope is not his clean record. It's something else. Somebody else doesn't want anyone to see. What is that? Only the judge and lawyers will truly know what's in there. Okay, and I'm not going to speculate. That's up to everyone's own opinion on what they want to speculate. I'm not going to fucking care to even speculate.
Okay, sure. And everything you said, that was a good point. I want to say this about that. So in the state court, I happen to know that they wouldn't seal something federal in the state court like that. So it was alleged that would have been a federal document that was sealed in the state court envelope like that. You know what I mean? More than likely, that would be like a PSI or pre-sentence, which now has personal information. So they would seal that the way that they did. Okay. I have talked to him vaguely, and he broke down like his past conviction and how it was dropped, blah, blah. Again, that's his to tell. Okay. Right. So the issue I was talking about, because I'm going to say it one more time, and I'm not trying to press you or put you back in a box, but I commented about it. And this is not you, and this is not code. This is every person I've talked to in this mob genre that has my number. And there's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, everyone. Even the ones that take off on MRE because they know that I've made my little comments about them. Like everybody comes down to it and says, and that's why I said that you guys said it, has said like, it's not that they don't care that if he's a racist, they want to support him, but they're like, I don't give a fuck if MRE is a racist. Everybody has told me that. But then they go on, and I'm not sticking up. I'm not an MRE fanboy by no means. Anybody's. I'm just saying that like, okay, they use my jokes that I say, but everybody's like, you know what? I don't really give a fuck if he is. If he is, but there's a difference between somebody that has a certain viewpoint and somebody that acts on it or wants to do like, you know, like I said, that's in a right-wing militia that's trying to hurt somebody. Or like, I would never, ever even joke around if I knew that dude was like far out. I asked him, just don't put me out there like that, you know? And he explained it all. I'm not going to get into that personal conversation. But it just seems like everybody kind of fakes outrage on that point of view. That's my opinion. And because I put that in my thing, that's why I'm addressing it. Because I said, you and code said you guys didn't care, blah, blah, blah. That's why I'm even bringing this up right now, Kevin.
Yeah, and again, I know you said you didn't watch it, but if you did and you would see that what I'm saying now is exactly what I said before.
Okay.
Didn't
All
change.
right.
My
Okay.
position doesn't change. But what I do care about, and I'll make this very clear for everyone, is when someone that has already been proved that he's not guilty, he's never been charged with a crime, that people still throw that rumor around. Like I'll use SoFlo, for example. People in this chat, I've seen it come up saying that he's a woman abuser or whatever. He's not. He's never been convicted of abusing a woman. Am I right or wrong?
No, you're right, but he admits openly, like he like says, I hit her and I would do it again, kind of like I did with the joke with the table. Oh no, he's fully, even today he said it.
And
So
again, I'm not
yeah,
gonna speak on his opinion. That's his opinion, and he is entitled to that opinion.
yeah.
But I can picture myself being falsely accused of what he got falsely accused of and feeling some fucking anger. I can tell you that. I would
Sure,
be
sure,
livid.
sure.
So I sympathize with him on that one.
The thing about self-love I want to say again is like when I said yesterday, like this dude is a sex offender, blah blah blah, and they all, so he's really not. No matter what
No,
anybody
he's not.
thinks, he's not convicted
He's
of that.
not.
I say constantly that Jimmy Calandra is because of the story that I know. But I was like, he's an unindicted, blah blah blah, and I use it as a broader point. That's a whole different issue. That's not.
And again, Rob, this is my opinion, but even taking the Calandra issue, if I didn't know for an absolute fact, there's no way that's coming out of my mouth. No chance.
Oh no, I know that story for a fact, Kevin. I know that story for a fact. I've talked to. Listen, I've talked.
You've talked to who though?
All of them, 3 people, 3 sources that were intimately involved. Look, that's going to come. So there's going to be a person coming out of prison that's going to talk more about that.
Okay,
But he's never denied that. He's never denied it. So I will say that the person did get mad at me for saying that that she was afraid of Jimmy, not that she was afraid of Tommy coming after Jimmy when Tommy found out. Listen, I swear I will shut my YouTube channel down if anything I said about that is false. Any of it, Tommy Karate statements, anything. I mean that. I mean that. Calandra, I drew first blood on, and I have not stopped. That is true. That's like the only one I've really. SoFlo called me names. I once said something about him, but I backed up because he's not a sex offender. But Calandra, like I know today I spent an hour on the phone with people out of Pittsburgh, multiple sources that want me to talk about his whole time in Pittsburgh. That dude has done, their story's going to come out, honestly.
Well, all I ask, and again, this is entirely up to you. All I ask is I just want to stick to what my principles are. That is, if Jimmy is not on here with us, I really don't want to talk about him, to be honest with you.
If Jimmy's not what?
If Jimmy's not with us on the show to defend himself,
okay. No, that's cool.
I don't want to talk about
it. No, that's cool. However we got into that conversation, that's cool. No, I respect that. Right. Like I said, I wanted to address the MRA thing because I put it up. That's why. That's the only reason.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Is there anything else you want to address right now? I mean,
no, and I just hope that, and you said you did. Now you completely understand where Code is coming from, and like his guests that he's had on, Dana Smith, where they're coming from with your decision on making that choice to sit with them to spite Joey Testa. So I hope I did it justice for them so that you understand where they're coming from and you understand why, it bothered them. So I hope I delivered that properly for them and for you so that you understand where they're coming from.
I think you did a great job. The only problem is like, we already got past that. Like he didn't say it's okay. He didn't laugh about it. We got past that point. He never said like, don't talk about it again. Look, I can't put words in the dude's mouth, but he fully understood why I did it, what I did it, even if he disagreed about it, right? And a lot of people that support me, a lot of people are saying just basically, and I feel the same way, it's just being used is just to keep it going. I'm not saying he's not felt emotional about it, but I'm saying after we talked, like to do that today, it was just so, it didn't make sense with the conversations that we had.
Only thing I heard from him, and again, I didn't hear what you said. I didn't get to watch SoFlo today, All I heard was supposedly that you were tripling and doubling down. That's all
Yeah,
I heard. That's all I
yeah,
heard. And
yeah. I
that's
know.
what upset him.
Yeah, no, so I did, and it was because again, like they were bringing it up, like, oh, you sat with that, and I'm like, of course I did. Go look at the videos. This is the reason why. That's why. But okay, so after we talked like that, after the emails that we sent, if it was bothering him like that, why do it on that dude's show and not say, Rob, I can't be, dude, listen, all that stuff we talked about, I can't, it's too much. You understand? Like we had it's like Johnny Mack, even though Johnny Mack is a whole different league. Okay, it's like this. When it comes to, he knew my positions on some things, but yet he would go in other platforms and rip me apart on the issues that he knew exactly how I felt about. That was my complaint about Johnny Mack when I did the video of the apology and just went smooth off on it. The problem was I already agreed to do the interview. So if somebody talks to me and knows me, for example, like, okay, so I've talked to MRE now. We're not like the best of buddies, but let's say that something happens and I'm going to go off on him, right? Or something, he does something, I'm going to contact him first. If Danny Trio, we have not talked after the interview that I did, he did send me a message. Leah sent me a message, and if I was going to go I would like say it to them first, not use these channels to keep all this shit going. Where, you know what I'm saying?
Okay, so and I know Code, and I'm sure that's the one thing he probably would have changed. I think he realizes, because he's a pretty reasonable guy, that it probably would have been a better choice to reach out to you personally first before he went and did a show and voiced his displeasure that way. I'm almost certain that he would. But again, I don't want to speak with him. He's not here. But
yeah,
that's all.
So there's going to be, I can't read because I don't have glasses yet, and I see my chat room. There's going to be people saying, Rob, you're too soft in this guy, blah blah blah.
And they're going to say I'm soft, and they can't fucking stand me either. So
okay,
you can't please everybody.
So the deal here is, like I said, you asked me to come on. We didn't even really discuss what we were going to talk about, and I'm trying to have the conversation, and I think that I'm satisfied with that. I can't get past the fact of how torn up I was over Code earlier. I know, I understand what you're saying, right? I do. He went a little further than that, like to say other things, and that when you originally said that I was probably a rat, blah, 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 you were just saying that night on that panel, the prison, blah, blah, blah. He like said all that again. And I was like, what? Wow. So there was more said. I came and just immediately did a live because I was just so like, again, it's my impulse issues. And then as soon as I stopped the live, I walked in there and YouTube was on. I had it on mute, and there's him starting his show, and there's you. I didn't even hear probably 2 minutes of words. I just immediately came back and boom, you know what I mean?
Right.
And again, it's like my dude told me, like, you can't put trust in this dude because of how you don't understand the whole gravity. You don't understand the whole thing about what's going on, and like how I've tried to make him this instrumental part of what our agenda can be in the future. Like I went really, really far for this dude. He doesn't even know it. And I look really, 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 really foolish to my dude now. And I even talked to him yet. He doesn't even see this yet because he's so bogged down in litigation. I just feel like a fucking moron. I ain't gonna lie. So that's what it's about.
Like I said to you before, that video that he did, it's gone. It got taken down for a copyright strike. So no one else can see it. No one else is gonna find it. Nobody else can watch it. It's gone.
Is that a video, the one from earlier today he was talking about? Yes,
because he was playing, and I don't even remember what the video was, but it wasn't his. And I guess he didn't do it properly, and they copyright struck him, and it's gone. So it's toast.
Okay. And I've told people in the past, Johnny Mack was one of them, because Johnny Mack's like, I took videos down that I said this and this about you. Like, I never want people to do that. Like, that's if those videos, especially if they make money, people can say what they say. You know what I'm saying? Again, like, if you think that I have not thought after this week with Jimmy Calandra and how hard I've been, that there's going to be not at least 10 shows coming after my head, then you're wrong. Because I actually yesterday kind of goaded SoFlo's dudes, like I set a hook and like went after to like get them to like, to get under their skin. Not in the beginning when he stopped. So what he does is he won't let me speak. Like he blocks me. You know what I mean? It's like FBS, they've got me blocked. And I don't even say bad stuff to those dudes. But yeah, I lured him on purpose yesterday to talk about me, to get their show. Yeah, that's like the only time I've done that like that, but it was fun for me. I'm childish, I ain't gonna lie. And the whole Calandra thing, it's like I do feel really, and you're not here to talk about him. I'm just talking out loud. My view is that there was friends involved. There's guys that now can have a voice about it, and there's so much. Anyway, Kevin. Anyway, where do you want to go here? Where do you want to go from here as far as talking?
No, I think we're good. I think we everything got put out on the table. I think everybody has a good understanding as far as where people were coming from, I hope. And I think what everyone should take from this is that people need to stop, think before reacting, and their first reaction should be reaching out to that person they have an issue with. Because I've heard several other content creators say that that's their whole formula for success. If there's an issue, if someone feels some type of way, call me first before you run and do a show. Then we don't have to retract anything. We don't have to say, oh, how'd you do that to me behind my back, blah, 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 blah. If anybody has issues, reach out to that individual and handle it yourself. And any misconceptions or any misunderstandings can be squashed right there and nipped in the butt. That's all.
That's pretty good. I know that your codes, dude, you've stuck up from in the past, you will in the future, and that's totally cool, right? This is what I want to say and I want to put out right now. I don't know after today if I can talk to dude, whatever. I'm asking you, in spite of that, in the future, to me, you're an asset. No matter what you've said or what you may say in the future on other people's show. In the bigger scheme of things, you're an asset in the criminal justice arena that I don't even really have the true focus yet, just because you come from the other side. I would like in the future, if we can come on, or I'll go on whatever platform you have, and not talk about the drama shit, but talk about real issues in regards to criminal justice reform or how we see things and explain things. That's what I want to do with you. And I don't give a damn what anybody over here says, and I can't see yet. That's what I see. Again, if I thought SoFlo was a bigger, I'm just using him because he's on my head right now from stuff. If I thought he had a bigger, that something was going on, you're damn sure I would, even after today, I would go like reach out, right? No bullshit. Yeah. So code is like a Joey Testa thing to me, where now I'm looking so stupid and you don't even understand, but I can't. But with you, you reached out and like said, basically you didn't say it, but you're like, deep breath, I'll go on the show and talk about it. Let's not talk about it here. And right. I did whatever I said. But in the future for other issues, I really want to get, do some stuff with you. And I don't care really, like I said, what anybody says. That's just how I feel.
Like I said, I'm passionate about giving the voiceless a voice. Even though I was on the other side as a correctional officer, I still had sympathy for everyone that was locked up and still is locked up. And there's several people that are in there right now that are in there wrongfully, a lot of them. And based upon financial situations, most likely not having the best lawyers, whatever that case may be, whatever their circumstance landed them in there. I know there's plenty that wouldn't be in there if there were different circumstances. So to give the voiceless a voice, I'm very passionate about. And if it involves any type of criminal justice reform, I'm on board.
Okay, thank you. So let me ask you this right off, and we won't stay too much longer. My wife, I've told her I wouldn't stay on all that long.
Yeah, I got to eat too. I'm starving.
What do you, full scale reform, prison reform, everything? What?
Yeah, there needs to be so much that changes. Like we stated before, how is it that a child molester would get put up for parole or probation before a low-level drug offender. How is that? How is that okay? It blows my mind. You know, they're the first ones, and you know it. They're the first ones to come up and get approved for parole. It's disgusting.
Yeah, yeah. So they don't do parole in the feds right now. But I, from state, I know
Right.
exactly what you're saying.
Right.
And
And I think this whole abolishing the death penalty, I think it's wrong. I think
me too.
they need to bring it back.
Oh, I'm
Quickly.
100% for the death penalty.
Yes.
And now they can reduce some things because definitely there's been innocent people put to death.
Right.
Definitely it has been used against African Americans in the wrong way. I can 100% say that.
I completely
I
agree.
wouldn't even care if there was like a moratorium on everybody right now and start over, like something. But I think the death penalty is so necessary. I really do.
Yep.
Anyway,
I completely agree.
all right, so I'm gonna go ahead and go. I'm glad you came on and you asked me, and I decided whatever the deal is. Like I said, I'll go ahead and read these after you go for a minute, but I'll talk to you in the future. If there's anything that you need to reach out to me for, go for it. You don't have to play middleman or moderator. I'm just talking about it in general.
Yeah.
If you come at me and say something like, Rob, I don't think you should, it's not like I'm going to listen automatically. That's not, you know what I mean? But or if you're going to go on a show and just rip me apart, at least give me the heads up and say, this is why I'm going to do it. At least I'll understand. That's all. That's all.
Truth be told, I'm not a fanboy. Like I said, I have certain individuals I like on here as content creators. I'll watch a show here and there, but I'm not watching everybody's show like that. So no. But like I said, I do like having, a little bit of a consulting role with some of these guys. They'll consult me on certain things. I enjoy that and stay out of the limelight. I don't like bringing my face on here and getting involved. So, me being on here is very far and few.
Yeah, and you're going to get beat up on the other side.
I know.
You're going to get ripped.
I know.
One quick question. Do you believe in civil commitments for sex offenders? You know what that is?
Explain it.
Civil commitments is what the feds have now in some states. After they're done with their criminal sentence, if they're deemed mentally ill, sexually dangerous, they can keep them civilly, and like after their sentence is expired. It's part of,
absolutely.
You believe?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. And again, I'm strongly a yes on that, for the simple fact that I've sat on so many parole hearings, probation hearings, classification hearings, and heard what these sex offenders have said, and that it's not curable, and I will do it again. So if I could keep them in as long as possible, that would be my suggestion. But if they're getting out and their sentence is over with, go after them with everything you can. Yes.
So I've studied that law. So Clarence Thomas did it. So here's what happened. There was something called the Adam Walsh Act. That's what made it okay to federally, civilly commit these dudes, right? I read a dissenting opinion by Clarence Thomas, and basically he said how dangerous it was because all they got to do is change the type of offender. So mentally ill, dangerous drug offender, mentally ill, dangerous bank robber. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And because the statute started actually in the 1800s, and they'd expanded on that statute. I believe the Supreme Court was wrong when they said that child rapists were not eligible for the death penalty. That came out of Louisiana. So I'm talking about hardcore child, you know what I mean? Yeah. And they said that was unconstitutional. This Supreme Court would not, and so that's my feeling on that. Civil commitments, I really do have an issue with, not because what you said was wrong, but because of what they can do if we get a different administration, you know what I mean? The bigger picture. That's all. That's a different conversation.
No, I completely agree. Agree.
All right, bro. I'm gone. We'll talk, Kevin.
All right, brother. We'll take care.
Take care. Bye-bye. You go ahead and get off, I think. I don't know how to do it.
I got you.
All right. So there it is there, you guys. I'm going to read some comments, maybe whatever. So how far back I don't even know. Has anybody donated to this show? No, probably not. It's okay. Don't be a Jimmy. I don't know if people have. I don't know. I got to stop. There's way too. How do I stop this? Johnny Lance Armstrong was string on probation. Okay. Unfortunately, Rob, you have to keep every text, email, and record. What these guys will stab you in the back. This was pointless. Okay, James. There is Lloyd Christmas. Shut the wire off, Kev, you swine. You guys, okay. So some of you guys don't like it, right? Well, again, that's exactly, I gave you play-by-play exactly how it went down. I don't take videos down. I don't take anything that I said down, and I don't suggest anybody else do either. He contacted me and didn't say anything other than put me on your show. I'll talk about whatever you want. That's what happened. And because I'm still really, really effed up about code. I still am for reasons that I can't even get into. They try to go all the way back. That's the truth. And I got to go in a second, you guys. I don't even know how many people watched tonight. 249. Thanks for watching. You didn't hook him up with that charity nonprofit. That would have been bad. Don't be a Jimmy. Dirty Needle Mac. Things change. So here's something else, right? I want everybody to say whatever they want on this comment section. I've got a lot of people telling me that they can't come on and comment because of this stuff. It was great, Rob. Homie admitted. Okay, yeah. Okay, there's a point of view. So here's one. Jimmy Boy said, and yeah, we can hang that. You're right, Jimmy. He admitted that there was an 80-20 yards exist, and you sitting at the weirdos table ain't nothing. He didn't say it wasn't nothing exactly. He said why other people feel that they do. But he said that people are definitely misinformed when they think that there's not a bunch of sex offenders with general populations. That's what it was. Thank you, Rob. Real content, real man. Rob Rosso convict thing. Thank you, Ron Gross. Yeah, I know people like sometimes they want me to do interviews and just rant like I do in videos, or like I'm not taking back what I said. Again, I did not hear what Kevin said about me today when I tied him in with code. I knew he was saying something. I have to go back and see something and see, like, if I owe him a total apology about that. That's why I didn't, because I don't know. Prison is a whole different world than the streets. Dude, get over the Big Daddy comment. How long have you going to go on about? We all know it was never. Well, no, I just said it. That's not. I'm not harping on that part. It's about the sitting at the table and what happened today, which I triple and double, and you can't benefit anyway having these dudes. Okay. Yeah. All right. I'm going to go ahead and go. I got to go because of my wife. I've been on an hour, right? I got to do. So tomorrow is Wednesday. I'll do a prison video tomorrow and not talk about any of this. Unless Tommy Karate or somebody else. Jesus Christ. I don't know. Thanks for watching. I appreciate it. Hope you guys have a good night. Take care. How do I even end this? I don't even know. And broadcast.